Hey everyone, and welcome to the Yarn Journey Crochet Podcast. My name is Holly. I live in North Carolina with my family, and this is a podcast about knitting and crochet. Oh my goodness, my hair is a mess. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, the yarn I'm hoarding, and occasionally some other crafts that I am working on that I feel like sharing with you. So I just wanted to welcome everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming to join me in my little hour that I do every couple weeks. I wanted to thank you for coming back, for all returning viewers, and welcome. Thank you for subscribing to new viewers. Excuse me. I'm drinking coffee at almost 7 o'clock at night in my brand new North Carolina mug that I got from Starbucks, which I have seen these all over YouTube and they're amazing, and I've never been able to find one where I've been. So when I saw this at my local Starbucks, I hopped on it. I was like, okay, it's coming home with me. I am drinking sugar cookie coffee. It is delicious. I wanted my peppermint bark, but I couldn't find any. I think I was out. You can find me on Instagram as Yarn Journey Crochet. You can find me on Ravelry as Holly Nicole 1316. You can also find me on Etsy as Crafty Mommy Corner. And we do have a Ravelry group for this podcast. It is the Yarn Journey Crochet podcast group. And we currently have a cowl running, which is the sweater cowl, which is sweaters, tops, vests, pretty much anything as long as it's not mesh or baby sizes. You can enter it in to win a pattern, which the pattern prizes will be drawn December 17th. So very soon for our next quarter. But I also want to talk about another cowl that I will be hosting with Claudia of CrochetLuna. As you know, we are both very big Supernatural fans. So we are going to be running a Supernatural cowl in 2019. It will start on February 1st. And run through March 31st. Sorry, I'm looking down at my notes. I don't want to get this wrong. Crochet and knit is acceptable. It is Supernatural themed as the show. But if you do not watch Supernatural, that's fine. You just have to relate your project, your yarn choice, or whatever to a supernatural story or a theme. So it could be vampires. It could be any type of supernatural type story, legend, etc. If you can link it somehow to it being supernatural, we will accept it. We will be accepting whips up to 50%, and I'm trying to see what else. Claudia will be hosting the chatter thread, and I will be hosting the FO thread. We'll probably get those up closer to when the cowl will start. We just wanted to give you guys a heads up because we know the holiday season is here. We're in the throes of Christmas or Hanukkah, and I think Kwanzaa's after Christmas, so everybody is busy right now. But we wanted to give you guys a good heads up before it started, which is February 1st. We will be using the hashtag SupernaturalCal19, and I'm still getting prizes together. I'm not sure about Claudia. I will be getting prizes together after the holidays just because money's tied up other places right now. So we will be looking forward to that, and if you would like to donate a prize to the cowl, you could either contact me or Claudia. I'll leave my email down below. You can email me or message me on Instagram, or you can get a hold of Claudia. I'm sure she would be more than happy to talk to you or whatever. So I'm super excited about that because I have found some amazing things that I do want to pick up as prizes. So I will have to surprise you guys when we get closer to it. So now that the administration is over, 5 minutes later, oh my goodness, we can get started. So FOs, I have 2 this week, one of which I don't have because it's on its way to my grandma. I hope. I put it in the mail, but our mail goes really slow when you live on base. I don't know if that goes through like an extra security process or whatnot, but it tends to be a little slower. Sorry. It is, like I said, it is 7 o'clock at night here. So this is end of the day mom here. Saturday, no makeup face. And just trying to stay awake. Because Saturdays, for whatever reason, I always end up either tired at 6 o'clock and want to go to bed, or I'm up until 3. So yes, I don't know what's been going on lately, but since being sick has struck our house, sleeping schedules have gone to the wind. So the first one was my grandpa's beanie. I did make it in this yarn, but unfortunately I don't know the colorway. I had this yarn in stash with no ball band. I know it's a Loops and Threads Impeccable. I know that by the feel of it, and I know that that's what it was, but I can't remember the colorway. I tried looking it up, and they don't carry this colorway anymore. They carry something similar. It's a lot brighter, but it's not the same. But it ended up really nice looking. I love the way his beanie came out. I'm not sure if I'm going to make Colin a beanie out of what's left of this, or I will be putting it in another project that I will show soon. The second FO is Nick's beanie. So I finally finished his. It is a knitted beanie. Sorry, my lighting is not going to be that great. Actually, hold on. Let me try and fix that. Okay, that's a little better. Here we go. So this is Nick's beanie. This is just a red heart with love in the color Pewter. I did a 92 stitch cast on. So before it was really... It was really loose on the first one I made him because I have a bun on. It doesn't really work that well. Look like I'm all egghead. 92 stitch cast on, folded over brim. So it's super squishy. And I want to say I made a project page for this on Ravelry, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to look. I'm trying to keep better track of my projects on Ravelry. Excuse me, coffee burp. Because I end up making things and then I want to make them again, but I forget how I made them the first time. So I am reflecting really bad. So I'm trying, keyword, to keep better project pages. But sometimes I forget. I just completely forget. So that's this last one, and he still has not worn it. It's been cold and he has not worn it. Ugh. Okay, so on to whips. I started a pair of matching gloves for Nick to his beanie because we were putting up Christmas lights today, and of course it's been one of the coldest days we've had so far here, and it was drizzly out. Not raining, but it's like a light drizzle, so it wasn't hard or anything, but if you walked out you're like, oh, it's starting to rain. But it was like that pretty much all day. So we were putting up our Christmas lights, and the number one thing he complained about was, oh, my hands hurt. My hands are so cold. And I'm like, thank you for emphasizing the fact that I have not made your gloves yet, because I just needed a break from the gray, because not only did I make 2 beanies in this color, I'm now making gloves in this color. So, yes, that was a long, closed eye roll. I'm making the gloves pattern by Emily Kintai. That's what I want to say, but I don't know if that's right. And this is what they look like. In this pattern, it gives you the fingering weight and worsted weight pattern. So you can make 2 different size gloves, which I love, because I probably don't think if I was ever to make myself gloves that I would wear a worsted weight one. I would probably wear fingering weight, just because I have man hands and I work with my hands a lot, and my hands are always warm. Rarely do they get cold, and when they do, it's like the fingertips, which is why I don't wear fingerless gloves. Me personally, I don't see the point of fingerless gloves, because the one part on my hands that do get cold are my fingers. So no fingers means cold fingers anyways on fingerless gloves. Some people it works because their fingers don't get cold, but their hands or their wrists or whatever get cold. So for me, they're not practical for me. But my hands are pretty warm. I would say my hands, I have my dad's hands. So they're big and they're always warm. So, yes. That is what I'm making for Nick. And this is the 3rd time I've casted these suckers on, because the first time, way too big. Second time, I thought it would be okay. And he was like, well, they're a little too big. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. And I was pretty much done with the cuff when he decided that it was still a little too big. I had almost 3 inches of 1x1 ribbing, and I ripped it all out so I could fix it. So this is where I'm back at now with his gloves. They look small right now because, well, one, they're all super twisted because I'm not holding them right, and they obviously like spread out more once you actually have stitches on them. So yeah, 3rd time casting this on, which is super fun, especially when each time you got pretty far in the ribbing. That's one thing with knitting, is when you rip stuff out and you have to start all the way over again, especially on ribbing, you're just like, oh my gosh, why did you do this to me? And Nick was like, I could just go buy some from Walmart. I'm like, what? You know, it's definitely that face that you see on those memes. It's like, no. Sorry, that was probably totally ugly face, but I don't even care right now. So yes, that's my first whip, and it has very little to show. My second whip also has very little to show. I've worked on it. That fell off. I've worked on it. I put a few rows in it, but it is nothing really to write home about. I did a few rows on my Reminisce sweater, and I was trying to start to crochet again, and my wrists and fingers were hurting pretty bad after knitting so much the last podcast, so the 2 weeks prior. My hands were hurting pretty dang bad, and I'm still trying to figure out ways of how I can make this to where my hands don't hurt as much. I know with knitting, my gauge is way, way, way tight. Like, really tight. So I'm trying to learn to loosen my gauge, where with crochet, it's really easy for me to loosen my gauge in crochet. That is not a problem. But with knitting, it's really hard because I'm worried that the inconsistent stitches are going to cause holes, and it's a pain in the butt. So I tried picking up my Reminisce sweater to work on for a little while, But my wrists and hands were just like over it. They were like, no, not today, boo-boo. We are not working for you. So I put in, so that was where I was at. So I only put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows, which doesn't look like a lot, but I put in 8 rows. I'm hoping, I want to have this done before the year is over, so I can say I finished 1 garment in the year of garments. That was supposed to be this year, the year of garments, or finishing my graph blankets back there, which that hasn't happened. And I would like to have that finished by the new year, but I have so many other projects that I need to finish that it seems like it's got put on the back burner. And I know with my Cabin in the Woods sweater, I also wanted to have that one finished, but I know I could probably finish that one super quick because I already have 3/4 of a sleeve done. I need to do the other one and just adjust the neckline. So I figured I wasn't going to go and rip back all of that. I'm just going to go and add rows on around the neckline, I guess. Designing sometime is a real B word. So that was that. I didn't do a lot of work on it. I wish I could have got more done, but that didn't happen when I wanted it to happen. So my next whip, I started working on the Gingerbread Boy. The pattern is Made by Mary. I don't even know if I said, I have not been saying the patterns or yarns for anything, have I? Oh well, it'll be quick. Everything's down below in the description box, all the show notes. So I started the Gingerbread Boy, and I'm trying to get the pieces out so I can show you. I hope I didn't lose one, because that would really stink if I had to make a whole other arm again. Oh, there it is. Okay, so trying to get it all situated. I'm sitting in a new spot, a little further down on my desk, so you're not getting such a wide view of the room. Trying to narrow it down, I guess. I don't know. Make you feel closer and cozier to the little Christmas fire that we have on the TV today. So, Gingerbread Boy and Girl by Made by Mary, which the designer's full name is Mary Smith. I have 2 sets of hands. So they have a little thumb hand. I haven't stuffed them yet. And then you do this cute little zigzag stripe on them, which was, for whatever reason, completely like mind-boggling to me. I was like, how do you do this? So they're a mess, but whatever. They're for my kids, and I know they're going to love them no matter what. So I have 2 sets of hands, and I just started the first foot. And this is in the Cafe Latte colorway by Red Heart Super Saver. And the white for the zigzags is Mainstays White. Might help if I put it the right way. So the one thing I absolutely love about this pattern is I don't like making amigurumi for one simple fact. You have to sew everything together. I hate sewing things in crochet because I feel like I never can secure it well enough for it to feel like it's sturdy, that the kids aren't going to rip the arm off. So I usually hate making them. But if you can see, that is not stitched on. It's not sewn on. It's crocheted together. This woman is a genius. She has made it so you do your pieces per usual as you would in amigurumi, but you crochet it on in between the rounds. So you don't have to sew it on. Oh my gosh, this woman deserves a prize because it's amazing the way she does this. I don't know how she figured it out. Maybe she hated stitching things together as much as I do. I don't know. But she is awesome. And I love this pattern. And I hope all of her amigurumi patterns are like that because I've bought four of them. So I really hope the rest of them are like that. Let's see. We're only sitting at 20 minutes. And I'm almost done. So it might be a short podcast this time. So, yes, I'm working on these, and I'm hoping to have these done by Christmas, so I really need to get cracking on them. But my next whip is the one that stole all my attention this last few days. Sorry, I got something in my eye. So, that's what I'm currently besides my husband's mittens and this, these are going to be the two main projects, or his gloves. These are the two main projects that I'm going to be working on within this next 2-week period. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have those things done by Christmas. So this next thing, hopefully I can, oh no, you saw it, okay. I mentioned a while ago that I wanted to start a scrap blanket. And I didn't know how I wanted to do it, what stitch. I didn't know if I wanted to put all my yarns together and make like one funky, misshapen blanket, because I have all different weights of yarn, everywhere from extra bulky to fingering. Like, I have the scale, basically. I have all the way from fingering all the way to super bulky. But I decided I wasn't going to put them all together in one blanket because although it is a scrap blanket, I still want it to look nice and I don't want it to look bad, if that makes sense. And I felt like if I was going to put all the yarn weights together in one blanket, I wouldn't have liked it. Like, I know I wouldn't have liked it. So I decided to start a blanket. And I know the typical scrap blanket is like corner to corner, or like you'll get the stitch sampler blankets, which they're all nice, but I'm not a fan of corner to corner really. I don't like granny squares. I don't like granny stitch. It's not me. I don't like it. So, and I even thought of doing like a cozy memories blanket, but I'm still not really a fan of the miter square. The knitted miter square. I don't know. The one thing I don't like about scrap blankets is how scrappy some of them look. Like with all the abrupt colors. It really bothers me. So then I thought, do a bits and bobs blanket, which is a knitted blanket. But I was like, I don't want to knit it. I mean, I might still do a bits and bobs blanket with like my fingering weight yarn. But for my worsted and DK weight, I wanted to crochet something. I want it to be a fast project. So, all I simply did was moss stitch. A moss stitch blanket that has all my scrap yarns in it. So, this thing is already pretty big. So, if you can see, it's fairly wide. It's 100 stitches across, so it's nice and wide. It's a very good sized lap blanket. So I have all different kinds of yarns, and what I decided to do is, because I don't like how abrupt the color changes are in scrap blankets, I decided to hold the scrap yarn double with a cream colored yarn, which I bought this Loops and Threads Impeccable big yarn, the big balls. They had them on sale at Michael's for $7. They were 30% off and they're $10, so $7. And the colorway is Erin. As you can see, this ball is no longer here. Of my cream color, this is all I have left. I have to get another one because I still have quite a few scraps in here, and as I'm working on projects, it only builds up. So I still have quite a bit of scraps. But this first one, which was, I believe, my starting chain and stuff, that is the yarn from Emma's beanie and her mittens. And then this, that is the Karen and Pantone. I was gonna make a hat for out of that, but it ended up, I didn't end up liking the way it was turning out. So all this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, those are all Karen and Pantone. This gray right here is from the 2 beanies that I made for Nick and me. And then this right here was a Simply DK, Loops and Threads Loops and Threads Joy DK. That's what I used in my, my Kelsey shawl by Lacey, who is the Hooked on Owls podcast. And then this red and gray is actually one color, or one ball. It's self-changing. That was for my very first attempt at making the Summer Romance shawl. Then from here to here, before it changes to this pinky color, that was from my crocheted socks that I made. That weren't very good. This is from Emma's first pair of crocheted socks, which she still has. She still wears. So hers came out fine. This blue, not entirely sure what it's from. It's a light blue, so I don't know. This was a ball of, and some of these I don't remember what the names are. I don't remember the colorway names. I don't remember the brand. These two right here are Woolies. My grandma sent me some of her some balls of yarn that she wasn't going to use, and she had like 2 small balls of those colors with the other skeins, so I just put those in the scrap bin and put them in on this blanket. And then this one was when I made Emma's like shirt, vest, sweater thing. And then this little strip of gray that's like various different grays, that was from making a Briar's shawl. And then this color, this big block, is let me show you if I can see it. Where did it go? Oh, right here. This is what was left of the Loops and Threads Big Twist value yarn. Loops and Threads Big Twist. What? Big Twist value yarns that I use for Colin's beanie and mittens. So I've made a significant amount of progress on this blanket, and I freaking love it. It's scrappy and warm. It is so warm. I was sitting there last night working on this, and at one point I was actually getting hot. But then as soon as I like took it off, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm cold. So then I snuggled back underneath it when I was making it. So yes, this is by far the item that has stolen my attention from everything else. Even though it shouldn't have, but it totally did. I love it. I love how scrappy it is. And it's so funny because every so often I'll ask Nick, I'm like, hey, do you like it? What do you think? He's like, yeah, I like it. I'm like, oh, I love my scrap blanket. He's like, why do you call it a scrap blanket? It makes it sound so unimportant. I'm like, you don't understand. Scraps to knitters and crocheters, they're like looking back on the memories of the things that you've made. So to us, they're important. They're memories of everything. And he's like, well, then call it your memory blanket. Don't call it a scrap blanket. it makes it sound unimportant. So this is my memory blanket. And it is soft, guys. Like, I was not expecting it to feel like this, but it is so soft. Especially holding it double, and it's thick. Oh my gosh, like, look at that. I'm not even close to being done. Like, not even close. Look how thick that is. But I am looking forward to working on that some more. And I'm thinking, since I have started using fingering weight more often, that I'm going to do a bits and bobs blanket for my fingering weight. But we'll see. So, my last and final whip is a cross stitch whip. I wanted to work on the cross stitches I started a while ago, but I still have not been able to find the page that has all the color info. Like, so it came with 2 pages and 1 page is missing. I have not been able to find it. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish that unless it magically appears somewhere. So I started working on the cross stitch that I bought when I was out in Missouri, which once I started it, I realized there's a lot of embroidery on this, and I am not an embroidery person. Not because I don't like it, it's because I don't know what the heck I'm doing when it comes to embroidery. So I started this one. I saw this when we were in Missouri, and I just loved it. Mainly for the message. So it says, look up and see the beauty of your dreams, believe in them, and follow them where they lead. I love that. I really do. Because I'm a firm believer that your dreams tell you things. I am. So I started this, and yes, I'm using Christmas washi tape. And of course, I started this the way I was not taught. I was taught to work from the middle out, but because of the way this pattern is written, it doesn't tell you where the center is. It doesn't tell you how many stitches you have. And I didn't feel like sitting there and counting every single square. So, as you can see, it's not centered because I'm me and I go rogue. And I started on the border so I could see what the heck I was doing. So, wow, this is really dark. So, basically, I'm working on the border first. I started this when I was trying to crochet, but my hands were still, like, hating me. So I was working down this edge, and then I was going to connect, and then start doing more of the border. Which I have to say, cross stitch is really addicting. Like, once you start, you really don't want to put it down. But then when you do, you're like, oh gosh, I got to get back into that. So that was my last whip. I didn't even say what this was. This is a Design Works pattern, and it is by Joanne Elliott, and it is the Beauty of Your Dreams one. Yeah. So I would probably never buy another Design Works one because I don't like the way they have their patterns set up. Like I said, they don't put any type of margins like, oh, here's 10 blocks, 20, 30, 40. Like, no. It's just squares. They don't tell you where the middle's at. They don't tell you how many squares there are. That was annoying. So, I don't think I'll ever buy another one of those again, but we'll see. Next would be hoarding, so give me 1 second to grab that. Okay, so for hoarding, obviously I got that big, huge ball of Loops and Threads Impeccable big for my scrap blanket. But I also got some other things. I didn't get a lot, but they're big. So they were having a sale on all their big skeins. So they were 30% off, or I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they were all 30% off regular price yarn. And these were regular price. So I got them for $7. So I got a Pound of Love from Lion Brand. in the Oxford Gray. And then I actually got 2 of those because that could be another sweater. And then I got 2 in this dark colorway, same Lion Brand Pound of Love, and this is in the charcoal colorway. And I asked Nick if he wanted a sweater in which color, and he said he wanted the charcoal. So I actually bought the charcoal for me and the Oxford Gray for him, but whatever, I'll let him pick what he wants. And then I got 3 of these little balls of Wool-like by Loops and Thread in the ivory colorway for my Bits and Bobs blanket, because I'm going to hold this double with the fingering weight yarn. And then I also had purchased 3 skeins from Walmart. Sorry, I completely disappeared off the screen. So I bought these because I wanted to make the kids Christmas hats, like those elf hats. So I bought 2 skeins of it. And this is the mistletoe colorway in Red Heart Super Saver. So I got 2 of those. I put so much pressure on myself to make things for people. Well, for my kids at least, on Christmas. Because it's like I want them to have a magical Christmas. And then I bought this last one, which is a mainstay yarn in the blanket slate Varg colorway. Sorry, I'm still trying to get over this. I'm almost there. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't know if I'm going to make a hat out of it. I don't know if mittens. I don't know yet. So that is all I have for hoarding. So yes. Oh, I found money in my bag. I was wondering where that went because I had change from there. So that is pretty much it for hoarding. I didn't really get anything else, I don't think. No. So I was gonna say something and I literally just forgot. Oh! So this year, so this is like life stuff. So if you're done with the crochet knitting content and the hoarding, by all means, have a wonderful evening. I hope you all are faring well. I hope your weather is cold but pretty and nice wherever you're at. And yeah, talk to you later. But anyways, back to life stuff. So this year I decided I was not going to be making anybody anything for Christmas because of the issues that I've been having with my hands. And I have a fairly large family to make for if I include both sides of my family. So like my side and Nick's side. It's a lot. So I asked people, what do you want me to make you for Christmas next year? Because I do like making people things. Like, it brings me joy to bring them joy by making them things. Because I am a process knitter and crocheter. Although I love having the things that I make to use, it's the act of doing it. It's very meditative for me. It helps relieve my anxiety. It keeps my mind busy without it being busy on something unproductive. So I love making things and I love giving presents. Like, I love giving things to people, especially if I know it's going to make their day or it's going to bring them happiness. I love giving gifts. So I asked some people so far, what do you want me to make you next year for Christmas? Because this year, in 2019, I am going to be gift crocheting and knitting pretty much all year long. Which, as you can see, I've already got quite a few ideas. for people, which I want to ask a few more people, like, if I was going to make you something, what do you want? If they tell me, oh, I don't need anything, well, they're going to be getting a blanket. Because blankets are super easy to make, although they are time consuming. When you pick an easy stitch, they're really easy to make, and it's very meditative. Like, I think that's why I picked up my scrap blanket when I did, because I've been focusing so much on these things, like, especially with the knitted patterns. I'm very new to knitting, so I have to focus on it. I can't just, like, space out like I do with crochet. So I think that's why I picked up the scrap blanket, because I needed something that was just mindless and meditative, that I can just sit back and crochet on and not think about anything else except looking at it and like, it's coming out so beautifully. So next year, I think, is the year of gifts. That is what I want it to be, because I love making things. So I just hope everyone will appreciate it the way I hope they will. So yeah. But anyways, other life stuff, I totally went on a crochet knitting tangent there. We have been sick since last Friday. I believe that's when it started. Yeah, Friday morning, last Friday. Started with Colin, then Emma, then Nick, then me. I've been getting better. I'm probably the closest to being better than anybody else. Emma has a cough like she's got the plague. Although, that's all she has, is just this nasty cough. But it has been getting better. Colin's been getting better. He's been pretty much fine. Nick, when he gets sick, he's like the biggest baby ever. But we're getting over being sick, getting ready for Christmas, put up some lights and decorations, and just trying to get that last minute Christmas stuff finished. And I know it's only beginning of December, but I feel like if I am not finished like a week and a half before Christmas, I'm like way behind. Like I put so much pressure on myself to like have it perfect, which it never is. Because it's life, nothing's perfect. You know, like, I'm pushing myself to make elf hats for the kids. Like, just the hats. No ears or anything. Like, just hats. Or the gingerbread man. Or, like, I wanted to have other gifts made for people, but that's, like, not happening. And I can't push myself because I tend to overwhelm myself. And I've noticed that with the podcast, I've also noticed that I've tried making things as fast as I can so I have things to show you guys, which is overwhelming, because I know you guys are not like, oh, I need to see something new every single podcast, but I feel like I have to be that person, which I don't know why I feel that way. And I think some podcasters also feel that way. I can't remember who said that. Someone else said something very similar, and I can't remember who. I've been trying to catch up on podcasts and Vlogmas. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Vlogtober, I was like caught up every day. Not a problem. Oh my gosh, there's so many people doing Vlogmas this year that I don't even know how to keep up. And at one point I was like, ooh, I kind of want to do Vlogmas. But then I saw 3 days late into it. 3 days. It was day 3. And it was just like, my feed was just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, not doing Vlogmas this year. No. I may post a couple of vlogs and say I'm participating, but I'm really not. But I think that is it for this week. And I'm at 44 minutes, and if I get to 47, it cuts me off. So I will see you guys in the next 2 weeks to give you another podcast. So I will talk to you later. Bye!